An obscure infection has killed the vast majority of the occupants of the planet. A man woke up in a tremendous grave of 1,000 carcasses, from which you can't get out, regardless of whether you may do. Simply look profound into this man's eyes. You can't actually tell immediately whether he is in any condition. Yet, the man abruptly flickers, and all his body, muscles. Furthermore, ligaments begin to crunch and bend, very much like a zombie or a fiend during withdrawal. Once stirred, he glances around and comprehends that he is in a profound opening loaded up with rotting bodies. He sees a lady's outline someplace above and asks her for help. After a snapshot of considerations, she tosses him a finish of a rope. What's more, takes off. Be that as it may, prior to leaving, our personality tracks down a pistol in the opening. In the wake of having strolled through the brush of the 12 p.m. blustery woods, the man finds a lodge. He stacks the firearm and heads inside, where a gathering are now talking about whether to help the man in the opening. Individuals notice him, and the disarray emits. They point weapon barrels at each other, accusing each other for the passing of that large number of individuals and can't sort out in whose house they by and by are. Our personality attempts to make sense of that he awakened in a heap of bodies, recollecting nothing, and the Asian lady assisted him with leaving. Others begin to censure the individual for aiding him, since they don't actually have any idea what his identity is. However, he doesn't have the foggiest idea who they are by the same token. Out of nowhere, a man who is lying on a story begins to noisily shout, while his body crunches and turns in a recognizable way. An alluring blonde attempts to assist him, others with observing in shock. Our personality asks what on God's green earth is continuing here and what's up with that person. Yet, the person answers that he doesn't remember anything. The blondie adds that not even one of them recalls that anything. They make sense of additional that there are no PCs, no cell phones. So they can't contact the rest of the world. Notwithstanding, they in all actuality do have something like plastic identifications. They could essentially figure out their names. The blondie says she goes by Sharon. One man calls himself Michael, and the subsequent one, the one with a rifle, is named Lucas. The one that has awakened is Nathan. In any case, neither the Asian lady nor our personality has the archives. Also, the lady is simply quiet and continually draws a few pictographs. Our personality attempts to comprehend what she is composing and why she saved him. Yet, the others make sense of for him that the lady is quiet. She hears everything, except she can't utter a word. Moreover, she doesn't figure out English. Be that as it may, she plainly knows more than anybody. Since she arose before every other person, the gathering chooses to look through the house and attempts to sort out everything. Our personality is with Nathan. They check out a storeroom and notice a schedule with marks on a refrigerator, where a date, the 18th of April, is surrounded in red. As per the schedule, it is the 16th today, meaning something will happen the day after tomorrow. As of now, Lucas and the Asian woman attempt to research the comparative hematomas from the needles that the two of them have on their veins. Meanwhile, Michael tracks down a cabinet with an entire munition stockpile of weapons and ammo. The characters choose to arm themselves and be prepared for whatever might happen, for good measure. Sharon takes our personality to the showers, where she proposes he cleans up. Subsequent to staying on his own, the person gets odd flashbacks. Interestingly, while having a shower, he attempts to recall what his identity is, what his name, and should occur on the 18th, yet without any result. Unexpectedly, somebody yells out that the Asian woman has run away to the woods. The gathering arm themselves and go to look for her. Michael and Nathan are gone out. The folks concentrate on the library, and abruptly Nathan understands that he knows Latin and comprehends different clinical definitions. Furthermore, Michael figures out that his hands and body recall a ton. For instance, how to rapidly stack a weapon. The remainder of the gathering travel through the woods. What's more, our personality recalls how he conveyed some carcass with a scorpion tattoo. They unexpectedly run over a man's body, attached to a tree with a spiked rope. They glance around and comprehend that it isn't the main cadaver here. The gathering then, at that point, hear a lady's shout and stroll in. It's coarse. They run over a little lodge and enter inside, where they see the Asian woman taking care of a tied up like a creature lady. She flies off the handle and attempts to go after our personality, yelling that he has utilized her little girl. The person is compelled to take her out with a rifle handle. They likewise notice a CCTV camera, and that implies there should be a control point. The following morning, the gathering expect to go to the timberland once more. Michael and the Asian woman stay alert. Unexpectedly, a man's lamentable shout rises up out of the backwoods. He tracks down the man at a knoll, restricted with a thorned rope. Michael attempts to help him. In any case, the man unexpectedly stifles him with the rope and sticks a sharp wooden stick into his neck. In the meantime, the remainder of the gathering catch a major heap of branches, among which they track down two working vehicles. Lucas finds a photograph in the vehicle, on which every one of them are shown. With the exception of our personality. Out of nowhere, the Asian woman shows up and says that Michael desperately needs assistance. The gathering hurry to the site of the occurrence, attempting to give him medical aid. However, Michael stifles on his own blood and kicks the bucket. They choose to assess the landscape and to isolate. The primary person and Sharon show up at a neglected structure, and the number 18 is likewise composed on its wall. They search the region, and Sharon sees a kid running by. They pursue him, yet he secures himself in some capacity. They see the kid through a hole and attempt to figure out what he knows. The kid yells for Jonah to leave since they are showing up tomorrow. The person at long last figures out his name and is astounded by the youngster's information. The kid delivers a Rottweiler at them, however luckily, the entryway is solid. Jonah flies off the handle and attempts to break the lock with the rifle, however he doesn't succeed. In the meantime, Nathan sees that Lucas is feeling debilitated. He has areas of strength for an peculiar flashbacks, showing him that he knows the Asian woman. He gets her hand firmly in a frenzy. Yet, Nathan quiets him down. They send Lucas to rest after this, and she chooses to show the fellow the lodge with the tied-up lady. When there, they see that the lady has gotten away. Furthermore, they go looking for her. They chance upon certain garrison huts in the backwoods where Nathan tracks down glasses. He gives them a shot and comprehends that these have a place with him. Nathan additionally has a few flashbacks of when he taken part in probes individuals. Nathan stays there, and the lady goes back to the house where she sees Lucas once more. He begins to follow her, continually rehashing that he recalls her. Be that as it may, the Asian woman secures herself in a loft to stay away from him. In the quest for the lady, Lucas tracks down an entry to the storm cellar, where he finds different clinical carafes, dishes with human minds, and the control point for noticing the cells. The bars of the relative multitude of cells are open. Meanwhile, Nathan keeps on looking the encampment, inside one of which he hears a lady's cry. He opens the entryway and sees that lady from the lodge with the dead little girl in her arms. She calls Nathan a killer and attempts to go after him. However, he shuts the bars in time. Nathan leaves the sleeping quarters and notification a few bizarre individuals moving toward him from all over the place. They are shouting and clutching their heads. In the cellar of the house, Lucas tracks down a camcorder and watches a video recording. Jonah is in it, saying that it is the 96th day of some exploration, and one of the subjects at long last got the positive responses to their infusions, so they are doing great. There is a secondary effect, cognitive decline. As indicated by him, the subjects pass out and nearly kick the bucket toward the start, however at that point recapture cognizance and don't recall anything. Lucas and the Asian woman are among the subjects in the video. Interim, Jonah and Sharon return to the house, where Lucas, equipped and furious, looks for them. He focuses the rifle at Jonah and yells that all this is his shortcoming since he investigated them. There are video accounts that demonstrate that. Sharon requests clarifications from Jonah, however he answers that he doesn't actually remember anything. Lucas then allows Sharon to watch the recording and, with tears in her eyes, she takes his side. Jonah attempts to legitimize himself, however Lucas takes him out with the rifle knob. Once stirred, John finds that Lucas hauls him to that opening with the carcasses. Also, dumps him there. He beats his direction through the bodies and sees the young lady with the scorpion tattoo, whom he probably killed. Lucas is stirred and races into the house with Sharon and the quiet young lady and requests vehicle keys. The young ladies comprehend that he isn't in his right brain. Sharon requests that he plunk down and unwind, however Lucas begins acting deficiently. He pushes Sharon and pursues the quiet young lady around the house. Subsequent to getting her, Lucas forcefully attempts to assault her. Sharon arrives so as to help and frightens Lucas away with a gunfire. He leaps through of the window and hurries to the woodland. Meanwhile, Jonah is making some unpleasant memories in the opening with the bodies. He experiences difficulty breathing, yet the Asian woman shows up once more. Furthermore, tosses him a rope. Jonah gets out and requests that the lady return home and keep her distance from him. He personally will look for the kid who ought to be aware something at any rate. In the wake of getting back to that structure, Jonah finds something like a field medical clinic. He tracks down a guide of the region with an illustrated course. Jonah sees flashbacks, again of him requesting that some man transport a compartment since this is their last opportunity. John hears a few clamor and meets two contaminated individuals. He drops the vehicle keys. In any case, the madwoman snatches them, swallows them, and attempts to go after him. Jonah is compelled to kill her. We see him driving the vehicle while the keys, shrouded in blood, dangle from the start switch. Jonah experiences certain individuals out and about. The kid is among them. His contaminated mother is tied up inside the vehicle, though the kid's grandma focuses a rifle at John and asks him not to irritate them with the infusions any longer. He attempts to figure out what he had done, yet they drive away. John sees that equivalent compartment with the jars close to an unwanted vehicle. Flashbacks happen to him once more. He recalls the formation of an infection that kills the human cerebrum. While the life-saving immunization is in those cups, expected for the requirements of a military. He finds a driver's cadaver inside a vehicle and the ID with the name of Jonah Cook, or at least, him. Plus, he tracks down a blissful photograph of him and Sharon. All of a sudden, a car shows up and hits his vehicle. Lucas is in the driver's seat. Furthermore, he is exceptionally debilitated. Jonah attempts to help him and makes sense of that he had only good intentions. A remarkable opposite, he attempted to help. Jonah means to infuse Lucas with the antibody. However, he goes after him and attempts to gag him. Jonah hits him with a stone, and he quiets down. A tad. Jonah requests to clutch him, yet Lucas says it is a horrific experience inside his head. Just before his passing, he sees flashbacks of him saying thanks to Jonah with different characters, toasting the salvage of their lives, and the arrival of the recollections. Be that as it may, their festival is intruded on by a tainted lady who leaps out of the cell. So not every person was saved. In the meantime, Nathan recovers cognizance, remembers all that has occurred and surges to look for Jonah. He runs into the house where Sharon is, and they ward off the contaminated ones that assault the house from outside. Jonah hurries to their salvage inn. While out and about, he encounters last flashbacks about the second when everything left hand. Jonah requests that everybody accumulate in the house and infuse themselves with the antibody. However, a tainted man finds him and inadvertently pushes him down into the opening with the carcasses. When there, Jonah finds that he is nibbled and infuses himself. The beginning of the 18th comes. Nathan and Sharon keep on warding off the tainted ones. What's more, Jonah is hurrying to help them. The sound of helicopters arises a good ways off. Furthermore, the tainted individuals pass on individually. Nathan unexpectedly recalls that the salvage activity should show up on the 18th. He attempts to let the tactical powers know that they are alive, asking them not to shoot. Yet, the furnished gathering has a request to leave no survivors. So they kill Nathan. Jonah and Sharon are frightened, attempting to stow away. The quiet, young lady conceals effectively in the woodland too. Sharon feels specific inconvenience while on their way and notification that she was cut with a blade by the tainted lady from the lodge. Jonah takes Sharon to the opening with the cadavers. They fall there, attempting to stow away from the military and infuse themselves with the antibodies once more. Sharon passes him a note to assist him with recollecting everything. The military shows up and tosses new cadavers into the opening without taking note. The survivors. Jonah recaptures cognizance in a little while, recollecting nothing once more. While the note gets lost among the bodies, he liberates himself from Sharon's body, tracks down the firearm in the pocket and attempts to leave. He is saved by the anonymous Asian woman. We can then hear Sharon's off-screen voice, perusing out the note. It makes sense of that they are specialists who are fighting a dangerous pestilence. The quiet young lady is a key to a fix since she has a characteristic insusceptibility to the infection. Saving her is in this manner significant. And afterward the entire of mankind. In the last scene of the film, Jonah and the quiet young lady approach the edge of the immense quarry which is loaded up with great many carcasses.